Welcome back, RawSangan family. Today we got Josh Rice. They got third place at the Lubbock Regionals this weekend. What did you play, man?
I played the Cyberse Eldritch deck. So basically I decided on this deck because, I haven't been playing a whole lot, and it's just an adventure deck, spoiler alert. But I thought the base deck was a little bit harder to play, and there was more interactions between like small world and little stuff that you need to know. And I really haven't been playing that much, and I thought this deck was just pretty simple while being effective, to be honest. And it had some cool niches that actually came up during the tournament. And also, I'm going to do shout outs before the video. I'm going to shout out, first off, Josh Bennett for lending me the whole entire deck. None of this would have even been possible without him. So, Josh, I really appreciate you. Denny, Max for winning the event. Max, you killed it, bro. And just all my opponents, DZ Comics, Cody over here, just everybody that showed up. It's just great to have Yu-Gi-Oh! Back again. That's all I can really say, and I'll get into the deck profile. So, I played the 9, basically 1-card starters, 3 Cyberse Gadget, 3 Despot, 3 Firewall Dragon, or Guardian, I should say, Firewall Dragon, whoops. Basically, these cards are all 1-card starters. They're all 1-card DPE Scythe locks, and I'll show you in the extra the cool thing about this engine. Obviously, you play the 3 Enchantress and the 1 Griffin. This card, it kind of feels like when Pot of Desires came out, and if you're playing it and your opponent isn't, you just feel like you have such an advantage. I know it's kind of boring sometimes, but these cards are just so insane that you kind of just have to play them. I can't imagine, if I went to YCS, I can't imagine I wouldn't play some sort of variant with these cards in it. Magician Souls, this card's, and the 2 Illusion. This card's particularly even better in this deck because you're playing the Eldritch cards, so you get more value out of this. And obviously, if you open this and this, that's like a pseudo FTK right there. And of course, everybody, the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Is right now, you have to play the hand traps. 3 Ash, it's just always Ash. It's always going to hit something. It's one of the best hand traps of the format. Everybody knows it. Ogre, you just hit the Fatefuls. I feel like this card's mediocre, and it's just a hand trap that always comes in and out of the format. But when it's good, it's just really good. Veiler, Droll. This card was kind of funny. It kind of underperformed, but at the same time, I got lucky a few times. When I played it against a Prank Kid player, I drawled him on his Fateful ad, and then the one Prank Kid he drew was Roxy, so I kind of got a little bit lucky there. I know that deck can play around it, but you still have to play the hand traps. 3 Nib. It's the best hand trap paired with another hand trap. It's the best hand trap on its own. The Bricks, Celestial, Dasher. If you're not playing DP, you're wildin'. Lancia, you can set it with Dagda. That's why I just played 1.
How many? Just one?
Just
one Lancia?
Just 1. That's all you need. You set it against the Flunderies matchup with your Artifact Dagda. And then the card that warps the format, ban this please, Konami. This card is unhealthy. Everybody's playing it. If you're not playing this card, you're a bozo. Between your main and side, you need to have this card somewhere. This card is just so powerful. This is basically the format. The 1 Lord. Sometimes I wanted to in testing because I was so worried about the second one getting banished with just DD Crow. I don't know how many people were going to be on DD Crow, but I was scared. But 1 worked out. I got DD Crow'd once and it was fine. I still won that game. This card was actually insane. 3 Cursed Eldlands. This card, every time my opponent had a DPE on the field, I drew this going second. And this card automatically forces DPE. So this card, this engine, actually funny enough, because I hate the Eldritch cards, but this was actually like one of the best engines in the deck because it just answers DPE so well, and it forces it, and that card's everywhere. Of course, the Insane engine. Card's insane. Draco backed. You're not really worried about back row between playing the Eldritch cards. And this card, that's why you don't see Mystic Mind too much in the format right now. This engine's just really too good not to play. I don't really have anything else to say about it. Fusion Destiny. This is the most versatile card in the deck because you send the Brave, you send the Dotscaper, you send the Golden Lord. So this card was really good. Called by, hits hand traps. I wanted one more kind of consistency card, so I played the Prepper Rights. You know, this is very similar to Paulo's list, so I just kind of net decked him a little bit in ways and took some of his concepts. Then for the traps, you play 3 Scarlet, 3 Conquistador, and 1 Wakero. I wanted to play 2 of this. This card came in clutch because I'd answered my opponent's DPEs, and then I'd set this card, and then in the draw phase, I just banish their DP, and they just lose a lot of the tempo in the game, and then I'm in control from there because I DP and Eldritch Trap, so I can just grind essentially. And then Imperm. This card plays around talents. I mean, it's not always the best, but it does play around talents, and there's a lot of that in the format. So that's the main deck. Put the side deck. The extra deck. All right, this was the cool part because this is the reason, another reason I played this deck, because it doesn't play as many bricks as the base deck, so it kind of has a little bit of a consistency edge over that. So you play 1 Disciple. This card you just tribute a monster it points to draw a card and put it back to the bottom of the deck. And so if you ever draw your brick, that was an advantage to playing the Cyberse engine. You just put back your brick, and I thought that was really nice. The Devotees, the Link Spider for all the tokens you play in this deck. The Ling Karibo, I made this one time to kind of, I was like, oh, I got hand trapped, and then I was like, oh, if my opponent has Imperm, I just kind of played around it so I could like make my Anaconda resolve. But I really didn't make it too much, but you got to play it. Dagda, this isn't the problem, Scythe is. 2 Anaconda. You play the second one for if you get nibbed, and after you do your whole Dagda play, and then if you get nibbed and you have Magician Souls, or you're just holding the Brave Engine, you know, you just make the second one. The Charmers, these cards are very easy to make in this deck. These cards are both broken. You know, I don't really have much to say about it. They're just so easy to make. They help you link climb. This guy especially, like this card, as much as I don't like the format, this card being in the format kind of checks all the DPEs running around, and it makes you think. You just have to think about your plays. Nightmare Phoenix, Hulk never really made it. Celine made it a few times. Access Code, just go for game. And then DP, cards insane. Side deck, you know, my side deck wasn't the best, but I just kind of threw it together. Pankratops, it's a 1-of, it's just good. Very good going second, forces negates, and it lets you play through Scythe between the Eldritch cards, the Brave Engine, and this card. It just, sometimes you can cheese games. I sided the other 2 Lancia because it was a regional, and while I don't like this card that much, I do respect Flynderese enough to where, like, I don't want to just get clowned by that deck. I don't think it's the best deck, but it can sack you, and I just...
Also, you can set it off Dagda, too.
You can set off Dagda in this deck, so it's just really, really free. Token Collector is honestly one of the best hand traps of the format. I was maining it, but I was like, I don't know about it. But this card, it beats this version of the deck, and that's why, like, people say, oh, this is just a Scythe deck and everything, but I played around this card so much because this card kills this version of the deck, and because the Devotee, when it's tributed to special, is 2 tokens, so I often would just hand trap my opponent. There was actually 3 games I made my opponent go first game 3, just because I think this deck is actually probably the best version at breaking boards, because you have Ellen, the Brave cards, Souls, the Cyberse, and then all your hand traps. So I actually play around this card quite a bit. This card overperformed. This hit a couple DPEs after I destroyed him with the Golden Lord that couldn't be destroyed by card effects because I brought it back from the grave. And then between this and Wakero, like, DP was never a problem for this deck. Played 3 Cosmics. This was strictly kind of for, like, my version of the deck, the Cyberse Brave deck, because that deck doesn't end on negates, and sometimes they'll just shotgun their DP to pop the Scythe. So this card was strictly for that. It's a good card. You can actually side in going first. It hits all the Fateful Adventures, the Boot Sector launches, all that stuff. So it's a pretty good card. I just threw this in because it was a regional, but these cards, honestly, I feel like you don't really need them. You have the Eldritch cards, you have the Brave cards. You know, the deck, it just kind of plays through back row anyway, so this could really be anything else.
All right, is that all?
That's it.
All right, don't forget to subscribe to RawSangan and see you next time.